to say Viveka Chudamani. This is a very important text, and we're going to pay attention to that and see this. I'm just trying to adjust the camera here. Now, this particular text is called a Prakarana Grantha. Prakarana Grantha is what we have generally three kinds of texts. We have the we have the the Shrutis, the Veda, the Upanishads. We have Bhagavad Gita, the Prasthanatraya, that's the Smriti, and you have the Brahma Sutra, which is Nyaya, Tarka Prasthana, you know, Nyaya Prasthana, arguments to explain and to sort of put everything together, is to have someone to bring together apparently divergent arguments, divergent statements that appear to be present in the Upanishads. These Upanishad statements appear to be in contradiction with each other, sometimes at a very surface level. And these apparent contradictions are resolved in the Brahma Sutras. But everybody doesn't have the time, the patience to be able to read all the Upanishads and then meditate on the meaning of it and reach conclusive understanding. So the great acharyas try to solve this problem by sort of bringing in certain texts which are easier to understand. These are called Prakarana Granthas. Prakarana means in that whole context of discussion, these are relevant introductory texts. And the meaning of this beautiful book is called Viveka Chudamani, which summarizes, like Bhagavad Gita, which we did, where the the insights, the main conclusions, the messages of the Upanishads were kind of summarized by Bhagavan for easy consumption of the students. And the students of Bhagavan are represented in the form of Arjuna. Similarly, here, this Viveka Chudamani, Viveka is what discrimination. In Tattvabodha, we understood what is Viveka. Nitya, Nitya Vastu Viveka. What is Nitya and what is Anitya? What is permanent, what is impermanent? Having that ability to distinguish what is going to stick around and what is very, very temporary. That was mentioned here. Now, that is the Viveka. Viveka now, I mean, in English, when you mention about discrimination, you can also have very negative way of understanding it. Like some people are discriminated against. There is a lot of discrimination against certain people in certain societies. Here, we are not using the word Viveka in that sense. It is to separate what is true, what is real, and what is fundamentally not affected by Desa Kala Vastu. It's not limited by location, the physical entity, or time. It's beyond these limitations, and that is that fundamental truth that Chaitanya Swarupa Brahman. It's a Viveka Chudamani. Chuda is what? Chuda is the pinnacle. Money, that crest jewel, is referring to. Why? This is the best form. This is the best way to meditate on what is Atma, what is the self. This book is attributed to Sankara Bhagavat Pada, Bhagavan Shankaracharya. However, some discerning scholars believe that perhaps this wasn't written by him. It's quite possible that it was written by perhaps one of the later day Shankaracharyas. He established 4 marks, and it's possible that one of the Shankaracharyas, maybe Sringiri, a little later wrote this. But he only wrote Adi Shankara, and therefore it was attributed to him. One of the reasons as to why it is not attributed to him by some great scholars is that the language of these beautiful poems is too sweet and too poetic. See, Sankara did not pay too much of attention to poetic beauty of his writings. He was always focused on the truth aspect of it. He did write Upadesha Sahasri, Dakshinamurti Stotram, some of these, and but many other stotras that we think he has written, some scholars believe that they were written by others, but it is written as if it was written by him. We have no way to either agree or disagree. As for our simplicity, we'll read the text with all respect that it was written either by Sankaracharya himself or by some other Sankaracharya with the motivating power and inspiration from Sri Bhagavad Pada. Inspired by Shankaracharya, somebody may have written it. This doesn't take away anything from the greatness of this text, whether it was individually, directly authored by Sri Shankaracharya, or it was some other Shankaracharya. That is absolutely of no importance for sadhaka, the seeker. For an academic, it will be of some relevance. He would like to do some hair splitting and he would say that, well, this is not by him, it's by somebody else. It's of no importance to us. Okay. Now, this text is hugely popular because there are some very powerful couplets and there is a lot of justification as to why we need to grow beyond, why we need to wake up from our sleep, why our lives are kind of caught up in a dream-like, delusional paradigm in which we live in a make-believe world. And this beautiful poem, the beautiful couplets that are there, the different meters in which this is composed, it sort of tries to wake us up from our sense of slumber. We sort of are avoiding the awakening, and this text is telling us how we cannot avoid because we just have one chance, and this is this life. We would not be doing too much today. This is an introductory session, so we'll be doing maybe 3-4 verses, and then we'll start progressing. There are 550 odd verses, 556 or so. Some of them are not so important. Some of them are extremely important. So depending on the importance of these verses, I'll dwell upon them. I just may also like to clarify that I have with me the commentary on Viveka Chudamani by the great Srimad Jagadguru Shankaracharya, Sri Chandrasekhara Bharati. And Chandrasekhara Bharati was the Sringeri Shankaracharya, one of the great souls who have sort of adorned the chair there as Shankaracharya. A fantastic commentary has written, and it's highly academic, highly spiritual, very cryptic. It unravels the secrets. But if I go on doing the commentary, the tika, you'll feel very bored because it is a little academic. So I would not be reading it the way we read in Bhagavad Gita, the Madhusudani and stuff like that. That will make it boring. So the plan would be that we'll be sticking to the main text, but I would be relying while explaining to you. I would be relying on the insights of great Chandrasekhara Bharati and his insights on this text. So without getting into the details, I would be taking the gist of it, the main points, the main insights, so that even without having to do the hair splitting, you know, you can still get the benefit. You get the juice out of it. So it also benefits. It remains easy and simple. Okay, so let's do Ucharanam of the next first verse. So before we start, let's again pray to the Gurus. Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. So let's do Ucharanam of the first verse. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamma Gocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta. So by Vedanta we know the end part of the Vedas. There are two ways in which you can make sense of the word Vedanta. So one is the end point of the Vedas, which means that the Vedas, towards the end of these texts, you have the Samhitas, you have the Brahmanas, right? You have Aranyakas, and finally you have the Upanishads. And there are other way of looking at it. That is also the conclusive remarks, the conclusive insights available in the Vedic literature, and therefore that is also Vedanta. So that anta would mean the location in terms of the spread of the text towards the end of this literature. That is one way. The other one is that these are also conclusive things, and these are the uh, final utterances, which gives you the final meaning of what the Vedas wanted to convey to you. That one has to practice jnana nishtha in order for liberation. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta. By Siddhanta we mean again Siddha Anta means the conclusions, the opinions, the Nishkarsha um, or Parinispanna thing. What is the final thing after all the dialogues and debates and vicharas? What are the important things which were concluded? The Siddhanta Gochara. Gochara would always mean Vishaya, the subject matter. Okay. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gochara. What is discussed in the Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta? Only thing that is discussed is about Brahman, about Atma. But is that Atma, is that Brahman a physical entity that you can touch? Or does it have name? Does it have form? Does it have color? Does it speak to us? No. We studied that in Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, he says, Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tam that Agocharam. So, Agocharam. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tam Agocharam. What is the subject matter of the Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta? That subject matter, which is beyond your senses. Agocharam. It's not Indriya Vishaya. Like the eyes can see a physical object, the colors it can see, the ears can listen to sound, the tongue can taste the taste of something. Mm? The skins that we have can feel it, sparsha, touch, quick indriya. But these atma, that self, is not indriya gochara. It's atindriya. It's beyond the senses. Avang manaso gochara. And therefore, he's saying Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tama Gocharam. And who is he? He's God, verily. But here you would see a beautiful bringing together of the author's respect for his own Guru and God at the same place. And that is the ultimate insight that he had. Ishvara Guru Ratme Iti Mukti Bheda Vibhagave. Ishvara Guru and Atma is one. They appear as three for our benefit so that we distinguish, we connect. So he's saying Govindam Paramanandam, Govinda Pada. So his Dada Guru was Gaudapada, who wrote the Karikas and the Mandukya Upanishad. And his disciple was Govindapada, and Govindapada's disciple was Adi Sankara. So Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum, and he's my Sadguru. Now there are two ways you can swing it anyway, because Lord Krishna is also Yogeshwara, and he is also the main guru. You know, so he's saying that my guru is verily the divine self, Paramanandam. So he's Parama Ananda Rupa, Paramanandam Sadgurum, Pranotosmi Aham. I'm bowing down to him. This is called Mangalacharana. Why do we do Mangalacharana in our tradition? You'll find whether somebody is writing a book on Nyaya or Sankhya or Vyakarana, is always Mangalacharana in the beginning. There are, this is a standard practice in our traditional learning. The purpose is that in order to reduce the beginners when you are reading or taking up any study, you should have the ability to complete the text, whether you are writing it or you're studying it, without any obstacles and obstructions or distractions or interruptions. That is why I do Mangalacharana, to reduce the beginners. That's number one. Number two, also to get the grace so that you understand things better. Mangalacharana. So you get the grace. And plus it has its own, it itself is a Subha thing. It's auspicious. It creates that energy that gives a spiritual context to whatever you're doing. That is the first, the prayer two lines. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gosharam Tamagosharam Govindam Paramanandam Sargurum Paratosmiham. From tomorrow onwards, we are doing Santakaram Pujasayanam. That is fine, but for each book actually there is a Mangalacharan. So before doing Sankaram Shankaracharya, we could do this from tomorrow onwards. Now the next verse, in any book in our tradition that we study, there is a focus on Anubandha Chatushtaya. There are four pillars as to why we organize a process of learning for certain ends, certain outcomes. Because unless we have that outcome in mind, nobody is going to be interested in this study. Therefore, we have the first thing is what? Vishaya, Prayojana, Adhikari, Sambandha. These four things. What is Vishaya? What Prayojana? Why you want to study? Vishaya, what you want to study? Then what? Adhikari. Do you qualify? Who is the guy who can study this? And finally, Sambandha. Pratipadya, Pratipadaka, Sambandha. So what are you studying? The text you are studying. So what is the Pratipadya Vishaya? Pratipadya Vishaya is maybe about Brahman. And what is Pratipadaka? The language, the text that you are reading. That Pratipadya, Pratipadaka, Sambandha. So Vishaya, Prayojana, Adhikari, and Sambandha. Ya Anubandha Chatushtaya. So, in a certain way, he's giving a rationale as to why one should read Viveka Chudamani and meditate on the subject matter here. Therefore, he says, Yantunang narajanma dullabha mataha pungsvam tatu viprata tasmad vaidika dharma marga parata vidvatvam asmad param jantunam. Jantu, all the living beings, birds, animals, whosoever. Narajanma dullabham is a very difficult thing to get a human life. Why he's saying this is reminding us that our days are anyway numbered, right? We lost a lot of friends to Corona. And because we're human beings, we have a very unique opportunity to meditate on the truth, to connect with God, to make sense of why we are here, where are we going. So Jantunam Narajanma Dullabham. Dullabham. It's not very easy to get. Okay, Dullabham, not Sullabha. It's not easy to get this human birth. Why? You have to do a lot of. There are three ways you get any birth. What is birth anyway? Sariram, the physical bodies it assumes. There is a profound secret in the first four words. जंतुनाम नरजन्म दुर्लभम. जंतुआ बार बार पैदा होते हैं. यानी जीवात्मा is different from the jiva sarira, the physical case, frame in which it manifests itself is different from what it is that jivatma. Jantunam narajanma durlabam ataha, therefore pungstvang tato viprasa. Now you have a human being. The first thing he has driven home that if you have a body, and you have to have a body, otherwise the jivatma cannot do anything. Okay? What kind of a body would you like to have? You would like to have a healthy, handsome, intelligent body, isn't it? So that with that body you can play, you can move around, you would like to stay physically fit. So what will become a sukha sadhaka? You need that kind of a body. And then what you would like to avoid? You would like to avoid the body which will become dukkha hetuka, to give you pain. Like you have a body, if there is some physical illness, you want that body? No. Now, if you're a human being, it's fully, it's efficient. If you're an animal, your mind is limited. You cannot write, you cannot paint, animals cannot do anything. They may have the desire to do it, they may like to speak, but they cannot speak. So we are really truly privileged as jantus. Jantunam narajanma dudlavam. So the goal of our life then is the dukkha hetu sarira nidduti. We don't want those bodies. And sukha hetu sarira prakti. And the sukha hetu sarira prakti, one of the results we have got is this human body. Okay. But now they're saying that if you do punyas, a lot of punyas, you will get deva sarira. A lot of papas, you will get naraka sarira, animals. And if you are mishra, papa punya mixed, you will get a human body. So you have got a human body. We have done some punyas also. It's not for free that we have. And then this Atma is not body. Atma, Natma, Viveka, we have already done it. And Bhagavan has also clarified us in the chapter 13 that Khetra, Khetragya Vibhaga Yoga. What is Khetra? The Sarira. It's Khetra. The Khetragya, the consciousness which is there. The Para, Apara, Prakriti, both that we study. So, Bhagavan does give us the body. A doubt might come. Why is it दुर्लभ? भगवान चाहे तो आपको कुछ भी जन्म दे सकते हैं. Please keep it in mind. God cannot do it. Please don't feel bad. We do say Pangun Langhe Girim Yakripa Kamaham Bande Paramananda Madhavam. We say that. Yes, that is true. God's grace is important. But God's grace is karma sapeksha. If there is a punyatma who is taking the name of Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna, Lord Shiva, and there is a papatma who is also taking the name of the Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna or whoever, both are going to temples. One is a punyatma, the other one is a papatma. The results shall not be the same, even though they may have prayed for equal amount of time in the temple. They may be going to the temple very early in the morning. The one person has a huge loan account. He's definitely adding some money, but he has a loan account. The other guy has some savings, and therefore, even if he makes a little profit, he becomes hugely rich. He has no loans. The guy who has a lot of loans, even if he makes some money, he goes to debt servicing. So whatever God can give us is karma sapeksha. Otherwise, what will happen? The whole thing will become chaotic. Somebody who doesn't deserve may get good results. Somebody who deserves may not get good results. So Bhagavan definitely loves us and protects us and gives us whatever we deserve, we need. But remember, he always takes in account what we deserve. Okay. Therefore, this Narajanma is Dullabha, that is why he's saying. We have got it because of a lot of punyas that we have done. God has given us this thing, not out of a draw of lots. It's not lottery. It's not a coincidence that we have got human life. This human life, which is priceless, is an outcome of a lot of good deeds we may have done in the previous births. Right? Therefore, we must take care of this. Now, then what is this? Then after this human body that we have got, being a man, because a lot of the Vedic rituals, women don't have a right to do, isn't it? In a traditional parlance, and therefore he says Pungsam Tato Viprata. And then somebody who is very cultured, Sanskritized, has access to the texts, Vipra. Vipra in a very normal sense, you could say Brahmin, but it's not just that. Vipra also means that somebody who's cultured, educated. So because Vipra here means that you have to have Vipra Buddhi, Vipra, that Viprochita Vyavahara Samarthya a person has. That is even harder to get. That you will have that sattvic orientation is very difficult to happen. What is astikya buddhi here? That astika. Who is a astika person? Astika person is essentially somebody that he goes by what the Shastra advises. He does what is Vihita, avoids what is Pratisiddha. That is why that is the Astikya Buddhi. Astika is not that he's a believer in God or something. It's largely somebody who has Shraddha in the Shastras, doesn't make fun of it. He's not a nihilist. He trusts the good advices in the spiritual scriptures. So now the whole question is that you got this Viprasa, and then what? Tasmad Vaidika Dharma Marga Parata. Everybody is not interested in Vaidika Dharma Marga. Here, directly or indirectly, he's saying that in the Sanatana Dharma, the Vaidika Dharma, the insights which are there in the Vedas, and the Vaidika Dharma is not only Karma Kanda, but the whole approach to living, as Bhagavan mentioned in chapter 4, the soul is that as yajna, interdependent reality. And if you don't contribute, but you just consume, you are a thief. So you must contribute to this whole interdependent reality. You should feed the birds and the animals, other human beings, distribute your love, your affection, do a bit of charity, isn't it? That's what Bhagavan advises in this chapter 4. So he's saying that Vaidika Dharma Marga Parata, all these Panchajagyanas that we discussed. And then all the karmas. How many kinds of karmas are there? We've discussed it there. So you have the Nitya karmas, you have the Naimittika karmas, you have Kamya karmas. Hmm? And in the Naimittika Kamya, you also have Prayasthita. So you have all these karmas there. Now, these karmas require a lot of arrangements and money, time, different kinds of dravyas, material elements are there. But when you do that with Niskama Bhava, there is a Vairagya in you and there is Ishvara kind of you graduate to the next level, then you will have interest in understanding who am I, why am I here, how long I'll be here. So you will be inwardly oriented. You will be enlightenment oriented. That he refers to as Vidvatvam, Asmad Param, Subhotna, Nahana, Dhona, getting up early in the morning, doing puja, giving water in the tulsi plant, offering water to the sun. All the Vedic advice. There are so many advices on what are the things that a person has to do. We have discussed that at length earlier. These are all good. But there's something superior, vidyatvam. When you have that wisdom orientedness, you want to have that vichara. It's not easy. It's only after your antakarana suddhi, through nishkama karma, that a person will at all be interested in that. Tasmad param, from asmat param, from what? This Vaidika Marga Parata itself is a big achievement. However, compared to that, Vidvatvam is even far superior, far subtle. And then just Vidvatvam, and then he's elaborating. Atma Natma Vivechanam Swanubhavo Brahmatmana Sangsiti Muktirno Satakoti Janma Sukritehi पुण्यैर्विना लभ्यते आत्मा अनात्म विवेचनम that nitya nitya vastu viveka atma and anatma. What is atma? That which sees is only true. What appears, your drishya, whatever is drishya, whatever is visible, whatever is known is a lie, is an appearance, is phenomenal. What is atma and what is anatma? Atma is only brahma vastu, that is nitya. Everything else is anatma. The simple trick to know is what is yours is anatma. You are atma. You have a house, a car, a body, name, fame, bank balance, whatever. Whatever you can describe as it is mine or I am this, these are all anatma. I am a man. So you are saying you are a man. So that manhood is just an attribute, isn't it? So that manhood is, you are not manhood. Because when you are born, you are not a man, but you are there. You have a body, you have age, you have youth, you have gender, you have money, you have attention, fame, everything. None of these is you. They are predicate aspect of you. The subject you, that is the Atma thing. So Atma, Anatma, Vivechana, that vichara, that contemplation that you are doing. Swanubhavo, that's Sakshatkara. That Atma Sakshatkara you do, Swanubhavo, Brahmatmana Sangsthiti. And then when you are verily established, we had done that in chapter 6, that Tanumanasa, Subhecha, uh, Tanumanasa, Sattva, all that comes in the Yoga Sutras we have discussed. These are Jnana Gunis. When the mind becomes sharper, right? It becomes more and more kind of, we have discussed that long back. We'll do that again. It will come here again. So Subhecha Vicharana Tanumanasa Sattvapati. So these are the bhumis in the Yoga Sutras we have studied, isn't it? Asangsakti, we are not as Padartha Bhavana, Suryagascha. So we had done all that. This Brahmatmana Sangsati, when you are mentioning that you are verily established in the farm, the firmly established in the truth. And that truth is not about the material truth that you are dealing with in everyday life. It is being aware of what we are, what is the inner truth of our existence here, why we are here. So that ब्रह्मात्मना संस्थिति, ये जो प्रपंच है और जितनी सारी चीज देख रहे हैं, they will come and go. We get attached to human beings, they come and go. There is only thing which doesn't come and doesn't go, and that is Brahman. It's everywhere. It has no beginning, no end. But all other things keep changing. It's like the film screen remains and so many films come and go. And the film screen, that remains stable. Similarly, we just have to have that nitya nitya vastu viveka. Swanubhavo brahmatmana sangskriti. This is the hardest thing, so that vidyatvam. Then he's saying, Muktir no satakoti janma sukritehi punni vina labhyate. With this wisdom, liberation, the hardest thing, moksha, Satakoti Janma Sukritaihi. Sukriti Sukrita Punya Satakoti 100 koti is what? It's 100 million. So Satakoti is like what? It's like uh 1 billion. Satakoti. 1 billion Janmas, so a billion lives, the punyas, good deeds that you may have done over a billion lives. Punyai vina na labhyate. So that vidvatvam. First thing is to be able to reach there, we must have sufficiently cleansed our internal consciousness. When we have cleansed our internal consciousness, then we have a chance to open ourselves to the possibility of Atma Jnana. That is what is hinted here. Now, in the next verse, there's a beautiful thing he's saying. What is so difficult, even if you want to have this Atma Jnana, you want to be enlightened, and you want to know things, you want to study things, but it's not very easy. So he says, Dullabam trayamaiva tat devanugraha hetukam मनुष्यत्वं मुमुक्षुत्वं महापुरुषसंश्रयः दुर्लभं त्रयम् एव एतत्. The three things hardest to find for a sadhaka. Three things very, very difficult. What are they? Daivanugraha hetukam. And these three things are generally achieved as a result of God's grace. Daivanugraha hetukam, caused by Daiva Devata ka Anugraha, the divine celestial powers which are there. When they are compassionate and kind, they give you the ability to connect or find these three things in life. What are these three things? Is again mentioned. Manusyatvam, the very fact that a human being, you can do karma, but you can do jnana sadhana. The devatas don't have karma adhikara, they have jnana adhikara. To do karma, you need a physical body. The gods do not have a physical body. So they cannot do jnana. And then you can do a lot of sadhana here, tapasya and japa and all. They cannot do it. They are in swarga all the time in a state of bliss. They are lazy people, very proud people. So they are always scared that these human beings can actually overtake us. So they come to disturb. If you do a lot of meditation, these devatas will send very ticklish thoughts to your mind. They might suddenly remind you of some lovely restaurant where you had some food and said, why don't you go have lunch there? They'll make a friend call you up, disturb you. Maybe they'll send a beautiful woman who comes and says, oh, sir, hello, I haven't met you for a long time. Gone, your meditation completely destroyed. They do all these things. Indra is an expert in all this, isn't it? Whether whosoever sits in meditation, he gets completely scared. So he's like one of these democratic leaders. If there's a young leader who becomes suddenly very popular, the established political leaders are scared. What is this guy trying to do? Similarly, Indra is always scared of sadhakas, vairagis, yogis. He's scared. So he's saying, what? Manusyatvam. It's a great privilege. Mumukshutvam. Manusya Sarira. For Sukha, if you are interested, yeah, devatas are very happy. Why? You will do a lot of pujas and you will run around and they know you will be reborn again and again and again and again. Where you have mumukshitva, devatas are panicking. Oh my god, this guy is not going to do any puja for us. He's interested in enlightenment. Oh my god, he's going to study Upanishad. He's going to meditate. Mumukshitvam, and most importantly is Mahapurusha Sangsaya. Mahapurusha, Atmagyani, Sangsaya. So the protection of a Mahapurusha, that you have the Sannidhi, you have the grace, the compassionate love, protection guidance, counsel, or Jnaninaha Upadikshantite Jnana Jnaninaha Tattvadarshita Tattvadarshina, Bhagavan said. So the Jnani Tattvadarshi, the Mahapurusha Sangsraya, Asraya, Sangsraya, protection, the Samyak Rupena, which protects you, that Sangsraya. It's not easy to get. You can get the friendship of a lot of people who will waste your time. A lot of people will come and mislead you, call you to go with them to the horse race, a club, or a film, maybe a restaurant, maybe a trip or anything. There are very few people who can give you guidance, what can actually help you in your long-term pursuit of self-knowledge or self-realization. So, uh, so he is mentioning all this because he is going to drop a bombshell in the next one. लब्ध्वा कथञ्चित् नरजन्मदुर्लभम् तत्रापि पुंस्त्वं श्रुतिपरादर्शनम् दस्त्वात्ममुक्त्यै न यतेत मूढधिः स आत्मः स्वं विनिहन्त्यः सद्ग्रहात्. If you got this human body, you got a fantastic mind, a human mind, so you're not making use of it. Labdva kathanchit narajanma dulbhavam. You have got this very rare privilege of being born as a human being. Tatrapi pungstvam, and then luckily you also, even though it's a little critical, isn't it? It's a sort of glorifying male body. To my mind, it's not a sophisticated thing to talk about. But in a traditional sense, those days, the ritual rites were the preserve of the male human beings. So Pungswam is mentioned. Shruti Paradarshanam. And then also you have access to the text and you understand. And then after all this, Yahatu Atma Mukti Na Yateta, and then that Mudadi, after having all these privileges, a person is not making use of all this for self-realization and liberation. Why? Because his Mudadi, his mind is completely dull, is completely fool, is a foolish person. It's like a rich man eating dry chapati and sleeping on a very stupid bed, living in a dirty place. He's definitely stupid, miserly person. Similarly, he's saying Sa Atmaha. He's definitely suicidal. He's destroying himself. He's killing himself. Right? He said, don't destroy yourself. So he's definitely self-destructive. God has given him a great privilege, but he's not making use of it. And therefore saying, Sa Atmaha Swam Binihanti. And he kills himself. So why should he kill himself? असदग्रहा सदग्रह नहीं है, उसका दुराग्रह है. He is interested in all stupid things in samsara and this and that, knowing damn well it's just one opportunity for him to realize what is the self. And if he's not making use of that beautiful opportunity, it's definitely a great idiot. That is how, and we'll do a bit of elaboration, then we'll progress. We'll move forward from there, the verse number 5 onwards. I'll share with you one particular version of the text in the group so that you can also sort of read it when we are having it. So, any questions you have, or I'll put an end to these. Any questions you have, any of you?
Swamiji, this Viveka Chudamani is available. Soft copy is available, I believe, on internet.
Yeah. Soft copy is available, but I'll share with you one good version where you would find the translation easy. because the Sanskrit version is there, but will not be very helpful. I can also share that. But in addition to that, I'll share.
English translation will be more helpful.
Yes, so I'll send you one English translation so that that is what you can actually read. But you can also buy, if you want to have a physical copy of the book, you can buy Viveka Chudamani from the Ramakrishna Mission, the translation. I think that is also very well done, Viveka Chudamani. That also you can do. Yeah. So, so, so we can do the Sankhya mantras and we'll,
Swamiji, one thing
yeah.
that is in the first three, explaining this three concepts which the celestial power has, they great people. Manusyata and Mahapurusha Sansaya. What is the middle one?
Mahapurusha Sangsraya. Yeah.
That is the last one. Manusyata, Manusya Sarva. That's the first one.
First is that you are a human being. Second one is that you have desire for liberation, mumukshitva, because everybody doesn't understand.
Okay.
Yeah, because you see, ये जो संसार है, there is a definition of it. ये देखते देखते नष्ट हो जाता है. This sansar is not real. So if a person understands it, now sometimes you must have felt it, and all of us feel it. But these moments do not stick with us for a longer period of time. So we do the shastras to stabilize that understanding. Everyone has very powerful spiritual experiences in life, but these spiritual moments do not stick with us generally for longer period of time. So you had this corona. You have had bad moments in life sometimes, and if you're walking around and you genuinely think usually crowded places into traffic jams and this and that, and you quietly think about it, and you quietly think about it, you realize much of it is irrelevant. But if you get stuck with it, it's real. It's like a cricket match. So there are two sons of a father. One son loves cricket, so this he's glued to the TV, and the other guy, he is maybe interested in basketball. So he watches some American channel. He all the time watches the basketball matches. For him, basketball and the world of basketball is very real. For this guy, the world of cricket is very real. Similarly, all of us, so far we are obsessed with whatever is going on, that is very real. The moment we come out of it, that is mumukshitva, when you say, yeah, but this is just a delusional thing. So second one is that mumukshitva, it doesn't come easily to all of us. So manushyatva, mumukshitva, mahapurusha samsaya. These three he's saying, daiva hetuka. This is as a result of God's grace that we get this thing. Ishvara prasadad Vedanta agraha. We have interest in Vedanta only because of God's grace. Everybody, a lot of people want it, isn't it? I mean, we had this satsang. A lot of people actually started it, but they didn't stick with it, isn't it? So this is how it happens. So let's do the Sankhya mantras. We'll carry forward. Maybe a lot of people couldn't know today, and we'll slowly try. Yeah. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Shankaram Shankaracharya